Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I wanted to start a series where I'm going to be going over 2 builds for every character in the game. One build is going to be designed around mobbing and one build is going to be designed around killing bosses as quickly as you possibly can. Now I want these builds to be high roll builds, pretty much meaning that they're going to have the best anointeds, best rolls, the best prefixes, all that type of stuff, the best I can possibly find with the best builds to try to see what all of the classes can provide at the very high end. So take that into consideration before watching these builds. They are going to be using a lot of the best rolled stuff and god rolls. So the first build we're going to be going over is the Zane mobbing build. So let's go into the talents. Now we do have to go over a few items before we go into the talents because these few items dictate pretty much where all of our talents go. Now first off, the class mod. Seeing Dead. Zane and his digiclone have a chance to activate all of his kill skills when shooting enemies, and your kill skills have a plus 25% effect bonus, and this will be up pretty much the entire time you're in combat. Even if your kill skills stack twice, they'll always be stacked twice, they'll always be up. This will constantly be proccing. Now how the overall build works is, if you didn't know, your digiclone takes the effects of your shields, it takes your grenade mod if it can throw grenades, it takes your class mod, it can proc this class mod like we just went over, and it takes the effects of your artifact. Now if you go the double barrel talent in Doubled Agent, your digiclone will have whatever weapon you have out when you summon it. So use the Cut Purse artifact, which gives you a percentage of your maximum ammo back every time you melee an enemy, and you have your digiclone use a Face Puncher, which is pretty much hitting an enemy with 7 or 14 melee attacks every shot, and you play Rocket Launcher when your digiclone is using the Face Puncher, and anytime he shoots an enemy, you maximize your Rocket Launcher ammo, not the ammo in the magazine, but just your overall ammo. So you have unlimited ammo, but you do have to keep reloading in between. Now that is pretty much overall how the build works and where a majority of our talents are going to go. So with that, we can now go into the talents. So like we went over, Doubled Agent is our main skill tree because we have to go down and get double barrel. First, Synchronicity, gain gun damage for each of your action skills active, and they will also be up quite a bit, and we'll go over that when we get to that talent. Then we have a 25% increase in magazine size. Now what's super important with this build when getting magazine size increases is being able to shoot your rocket launcher twice. We are using Scourges, but it consumes 4 ammo per shot, and you want to have at least 5. We have 6, which you really don't need, but having 5 is super important because then you can shoot 2 shots without having to reload. If you have 4 and it can only shoot 1 shot and then have to reload, that's gonna really lower the amount of damage you can put out, the amount of bursts you can put out. So then we have Donnybrook, which is a kill skill. It gives you and your digiclone gun damage and health regen. Stacks twice, it's a massive buff. Gun damage stacking twice is 32%. Also take into consideration, every one of these kill skills, as shown in the talents, are 50% stronger than the talent actually shows them to be, because we get 25% from our class mod and then we get 25% from another talent. So this is even stronger than it shows. We have Fractal Frags. Your digiclone throws a copy of Zane's current grenade mod. When it's first activated, the digiclone is killed, it drops a free grenade, and then whenever you proc the kill skill, the digiclone can throw a grenade. It has a chance to 45%. Now the reason I'm doing this because I did a build a while back that was pretty similar to this one, and someone mentioned that since you're proccing kill skills so frequently with our Seeing Dead class mod, that your digiclone can actually throw a lot of grenades with this. So I am using this now. Your digiclone will actually throw quite a bit of grenades since the kill skill can constantly be procced just by shooting enemies. So it could definitely get a lot of damage increase from having a good grenade mod and having Fractal Frags. Tuna Duct Tape mod, you have a chance to shoot out a grenade the first shot of your weapon, mainly get lower in the tree. Quick Breather, this is very important. Whenever Zane swaps places with his clone, his shield immediately begins recharging, which is very important with an item we're using, and you restore health to your clone up to 50% of its max health. Very important as well, because your clone's going to be out for a long time, and this is how you keep it alive. If you had no way to heal your clone, it would die all of the time. And we're already swapping places with our clones because of a few different things in this build, so this just synergizes really well. 1 and 2 pocket full of grenades, which gives grenade regeneration a percentage that stacks twice. This is going to be up all the time, and the reason we go into this is because this talent here, Boom in Hands. When you summon your digiclone, you can consume up to 3 grenades to massively buff it. You see it gets buffs pretty much everything: gun damage, max health, fire rate, all that stuff. So this is why we go 1 into pocket full of grenades. With how much our kill skills are up all the time, and with how long our digiclone lasts, you'll always have maximum grenades to make sure that you always take full advantage of boom enhance. 3 into supersonic man, whenever you have an action skill up, you gain movement speed, and that's per action skill. They're up a lot, so that's 24% movement speed, pretty nice. Trick of the light, Zane deals a bonus crowd damage to enemies that aren't targeting him, which actually happens a lot, so 36%. That's a bonus, so that's extra. That's not just increasing crowd damage you deal, it's a bonus. And we actually get this quite a lot. Then double barrel that we went over, whatever weapon you have out when you summon your digiclone is what your digiclone is using. And then when you switch places with your clone, you get gun damage plus 25%, which is pretty big. And we're using digiclone. The augments are this one that I'm not going to pronounce. Whenever the clone takes damage, Zane's shield is restored by a portion of that damage. And then what synergizes with a lot of these talents we just went over is which one's real. Enemies are more likely to target the clone after being summoned and after swapping places. And you can have this up 100% of the time if you swap places enough with your clone, which synergizes with Trick of the Light to give us more damage, synergizes with this so it takes more damage, giving you your shields back a lot more, synergizes with a lot of things, makes you tankier, all really good stuff. So next tree we're going is Hitman. And first we have violent speed, a kill skill that stacks twice, gives you movement speed, 30%, stacks twice to 60, and that's up by 50% because it doesn't show the increases on the talent itself. Violent momentum, your gun damage decreases while moving. The quicker you move, the more gun damage, 20% at default move speed. And we just went over having massive move speed increase, so we're getting a good amount of damage from that. One, it's a cool hand, which gives you reload speed, extra reload speed after killing an enemy as a kill skill that stacks twice. You can go more into this. Since we're using a rocket launcher and we have to reload a lot, it would up your damage, but I think that other talents are more worth getting. But if you want to, you feel like you're tankier, maybe you don't need as much salvation for the lifesteal, maybe you don't need as much of something else, you can get more into this if you want. Then death follows close, or actually salvation, which just is a kill skill that stacks once, it gives you lifesteal. Super good, you do so much damage that 3 points into this is probably more than enough. I could probably take 1 or 2 points out of this and put it in a cool hand and it might be better, but it's pretty interchangeable there. Death follows close, this is where our other 25% of our kill skill bonus effect comes into play. Then kill skill duration plus 7 seconds. Then we went playing dirty. Did we actually go 5 into playing dirty? We did go 5 into playing dirty, which gives us 105% chance, which is a guaranteed chance to fire an additional projectile as a kill skill, and this is the next 5 shots. And the reason I made sure it was at least 100% is because with a rocket launcher, it's incredibly strong to shoot an extra rocket, especially with the Scourge. It's incredibly strong, and without having like a fully automatic weapon or something, pretty much every shot is going to have an extra rocket launcher shot out of it, so it is very, very strong. And then we are going into one of the really important talents in this build, which is Good Misfortune. It's a kill skill, and whenever it procs, it increases your action skill duration, has diminishing returns, but when you're in combat, you'll see, and in the footage you'll see, that we can keep up our action skills a majority of the time we're in combat. Almost 100% of the time we're in combat, we can keep these up. Super, super strong that way. And for our other action skill ability, we're using the drone with Bad Dose just for some buffs, and then Static Field, which replenishes our shields a bit as well. So that is all the talents. Now let's go into the items. Now for the items, the weapon you always want your digiclone using is the face puncher. I'd recommend trying to get a redundant. That makes it have times 14 pellets instead of times 7. It just helps your digiclone do a bit more damage because it can do a decent bit of damage. And this is what's going to give you all your ammo back for your rocket launcher, and you always want your digiclone using this. Now for our weapons, we're using Scourges, and we're using the best anointed roll. After swapping places with your digiclone, weapon damage decreased by 130% for a short time. Now this is super strong because a ton of our talents synergize with this. We get shield regen when swapping places, we get our digiclone is now taunting, so we get extra cryo damage, we get extra gun damage, tons of stuff like that, so super strong. Now I only have shock, cryo, and kinetic with this roll. You can get these Scourges in any element, so if you can get all the elements, go ahead and use them, but having a cryo and shock are pretty good. Cryo for armored and shock for shields, and then normal if you want to use it for anything else. But if you can get the rolls, like I said, with other elements, go ahead and do that. And for our class mod, we already went over Seeing Dead. The rolls are okay. Weapon damage is good. Grenade damage is decent. Your clone's going to be throwing them all the time. Sniper rifle damage isn't useful for us in this, so that could be slightly better. Our cut purse is a very good roll. What's really cool about this is the legendary effect on this. When you deal extra elemental damage whenever you melee an enemy, actually does proc with your digiclone shooting the redundant done a face puncher, which I think is probably the best legendary roll you can get on your cut purse for this build. Grenade damage, good again. Electrocute chance is pretty good because we're using a shock launcher, and then magazine size is good if you need to get up to 5 with the Scourge because they use 4 ammo. If not, you could get a different roll. Mine could be slightly better because I could get a different roll with that, and I think still have 5 ammo in my Scourge. Now for the shield, this shield is actually really nuts with Zane. So what this shield does, this is one of the raid shields. It does have the on axis go on deal bonus cryo damage, but what this shield does, the super giant version M.0, I think it's just the version O.M. What it does is it has an amped attack. As you'll see, it has an amp on it, and it's the best amp in the game. It's 125%, which is only 5% more than the rerouter, but it only takes, I think it's 20 or 25% of your shield instead of 50 like the rerouter. Now, what's super strong with Zane is you're constantly getting shields back from people shooting your clone, from you swapping places with your clone, from your drone zapping the shields off other things, so you're constantly getting a lot of your amped attacks. Then what's really cool, your digiclone can also get amped attacks because it takes the effects of your shield, so it can also have amped attacks whenever its shields are full. And what's also good about the version O.M is its special is when your shield breaks, you drop a red ring on the ground that gives you amp damage. I think it's 20 or 25% amp damage. I don't remember exactly which one, but your digiclone will also drop this amp circle when its shields get depleted. And with you swapping places with your digiclone all the time, there's going to be red circles everywhere, and you're going to be constantly teleporting yourself onto a amp circle, making you do more damage while standing in that amp circle, which is super strong. You'll see in the gameplay there's these red circles everywhere that are giving me amp damage. I'm constantly getting amp shots. This shield is absolutely nuts for this build and for Zane as a whole. Now the grenade mod, I recommend using any grenade that seeks things. These are hunter seekers, they seek stuff out, they track things. Don't use any grenade because the majority of your grenades are going to be used from your clone. Don't use grenades that don't track. Your clone's going to miss most of the grenades if they don't track. This is a pretty good grenade. It also has that really high cryo efficiency to freeze everything, and then it has the shock damage on action skill end. So any decent tracking grenade will be good. Probably a hex might be the best if you have like a radiation hex with a good anointed on it, because that will apply radiation to everything. That's maybe the only thing I could think of that would be better, but this hunter seeker is still really good grenade. So that's all the items, that's all the talents. This is probably the strongest build I have found for mobbing for Zane. I know there's also some really strong ones that are probably right up there with this one, but this one is definitely a contender with the good rolls for some of the strongest mobbing in the game, and specifically for Zane. So subscribe if you want to see more Borderlands 3 content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this build. If you guys have any questions about where to get any of these items or anything like that, leave it in the comments. I will give you guys a save file if you guys want it. If you don't want the save file, if you want to farm the items for yourself, don't use the save file. I know some people want it because these anointeds are pretty hard to get. And thanks for watching.
Look, it's the real Zane, man!
Get ready for some fucking action! New round! Go!
Say hello to the great beyond. Stop for the bushel of monkey gets.
Hell yeah! Bring on the next fucking wave!
Trigger finger's getting tired over here. Literally.
I can't believe you survived the whole round! Wait!
Intel says there's an elevator down to the lower levels. Make your way there and be ready for some heavy resistance. I'm counting on you, Vault Hunter.
Push these reds back! I want a secure perimeter! Vault Hunter spotted!
Maybe I'll take a breather. Come on, come on! Everybody gets running!
We gotta take out that Vault Hunter! Now! Front gate!
Death comes for us all! You first!
Release the hound!
Up for the bushel of manky gits!